Today we're going to be creating a print in the style of Joan Miro. He was a famous Spanish printer and painter, and he was a really good friend of Pablo Picasso, who you may have heard of. Now for this project, to create the background, which is what we're going to do first, we're going to need some glue and a spreader. If you don't have a plastic spreader, corrugated card will work just as well, but it's important that we get a very thin layer down on our background. And to our background, we're going to be sticking some tissue paper. So I have some colours here. I have green and a lovely bright red. I have a pale green as well, and a pale blue, and finally a really bright yellow. Now these are the colours that Joan Miro liked to use in his work. If I had a dark blue, I probably would use that as well, but I don't have any today. So I'm going to begin by cutting out some shapes. Now these could be regular shapes if you wanted them to. You could cut out a regular square, triangle, rectangle. If you're really good, you might even want to try and cut out a pentagon. But cutting out regular shapes where all the sides are the same size, are the same length, is a bit tricky. So they can be irregular shapes too, and that's absolutely fine. But they do need to have nice straight edges. So I'm going to begin with some yellow tissue paper. I'm avoiding that bit because it's very creased. And I'm just going to cut a shape, a random shape. This looks a bit like it's going to be a trapezium type shape, an irregular trapezium. So there is my piece of yellow, and I'm just going to sort of flatten that down, but I'm not going to do anything with it just yet because I want to compose all of my tissue paper on my background before I stick them down so I can see where I want them to go. So I have my shapes. They're quite nice and large on my paper, and I'm just trying to decide what order I want them to be in. It's fun to have a bit of a play around with them and think about how we could. I'm not sure I like those two edges together. Let's try something a little different. Oh, I quite like that. And then I think I'm going to put I'm actually going to put my blue on just there, so it's not overlapping, it's just to the side. So I need to stick them down one by one, and I'm going to begin with my red. And what I'm going to do is I've put my fingers on it so that I know where I want it to go, and I'm going to carefully spread the glue so I have a really, really thin layer. So I'm using, and you can use card, remember, for this. A piece of corrugated card will work just as well. And tissue paper is so light, it doesn't need a lot of glue at all to stick it down, as you can see. And that will give me a really good finish. I don't want lumps and bumps, and I don't want any glue to be showing. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to use my thumb just to smooth it out so that it's nice and flat. And here where I can see, I haven't quite caught the corners, I'll stick this underneath there. And then last of all, I want to put my circle down, and I think I'm going to put that just there. So a bit of a challenge. I need to spread it in a bit of a semicircular shape. There we go. Oh, got to catch the edge. It's really important to glue the edges too. I don't want it to lift up. Let's bring that down to there. Oh, and a little bit. And there we go. Now, you may decide that you want to use more than 4 shapes. And that's okay. You can do that if you want to, and then perhaps your shapes wouldn't be quite as big as mine are. Oh dear, that I didn't want to do. How am I going to fix that? Oh, I know, because I don't think when I print over the top, you won't be able to see. So I'm going to just fix it with a patch. And I think that will be fun. That's because I rubbed too hard. So there's a thing that I've learned, that we mustn't rub too hard. Otherwise, we'll have to go around and fix with patches, which is okay. There. When we print over the top, you won't be able to see that I've patched it. Right, so that's my background created. My 4 shapes, including my patched one. And I'm going to put this to one side because it needs to dry before we print, and we need to move on to the next part of the task.